fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going in the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top here!
Oh my God! Oh, big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled!
It's very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go!
Oh no!
That's massive! This is it! That leads us! Oh my God!
God, what?
Are you new to sim racing, or maybe a veteran struggling to reach the next level? Have you ever wondered how the aliens reach impressive lap times that seem impossible to achieve? If so, you're not alone. Most drivers reach a certain level and get stuck. But getting faster on track is easier than you think. VRS coaches are some of the best sim racers in the world and offer one-on-one driver skills training at affordable rates to help new drivers learn the basics and help experienced drivers break through to the next level. Are you ready to get faster and get off the iRacing roller coaster? If so, VRS one-on-one personal training is for you. If you've invested in your equipment, it might be time to invest in yourself. Just go to virtualracingschool.com and sign up for a 30, 60 or 90-minute session with one of our world-class coaches, and you'll learn exactly what to do for faster lap times and more podiums.
Welcome one and welcome all to SimSpeed TV for a brand new season of the Virtual Racing School GT Sprint Series on the iRacing service. It's the first week of 2021 Season 4 and we come to the magnificent Road Atlanta in Braselton, Georgia for 40 minutes of exciting GT racing. Bringing it to you on Wednesdays this season. There's been a couple of schedule changes around here at SimSpeed TV, so we will be bringing you this midweek split from now on. Bringing you it is myself, Reese Gardner, and Nick Skariev is joining me in the commentary box for this one. Nick, Road Atlanta and GTs. Not much of a better combination, is there?
Yeah, absolutely there, Reese. Thank you for having me. I'm exactly right. Got a nice, exciting circuit, such as Road Atlanta here. We're having a bit of a look at some of these static shots here in the day. Thankfully for some of these drivers who are having to do the practice session in the dark, thankfully not so dark now, about 7:45 in the evening.
Yeah, indeed. As we check out the beautiful run up the hill here at Road Atlanta, this track is very high on elevation change. It's high on speed as well. It's the host of the Petit Le Mans every year, the final round of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, and they race for 10 hours around here into the night, which is what we're going to be doing here tonight. Of course, the race is going to be quite a bit shorter than 10 hours. The drivers won't have to spend that much time in the cars, let me tell you right now. So, we're about to get things started here with the drivers in qualifying at the moment, but before we do, we'll check out the Road Atlanta course. Just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, as you can probably tell from the name. This place was built in the late 1960s, early 1970s, and it has been wowing sports car fans ever since then. Only modified a few times over the years. Its basic layout remains largely the same, but what a beautiful track, Nick. It's 4 kilometers in length, long run to turn 1. I mean, what more can you say? It's just a wonderful place, and there's plenty of passing opportunities here too.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just about to say, it kind of took the words right out of my mouth there. So many different passing opportunities, mainly particularly there, turn 6 and 7, and then 10A and 10B. But it's really great here that all that complex section there from turn 1 all the way to, like, I think almost turn 5 there. A lot of change of directions there, quite flowing as well. You can see them run super, super wide there into that curbing.
Yeah, for sure. We just saw Marco D'Acunto here doing that, and Marco is a driver that we followed a few times last season. Certainly had some very good results under his belt, but a few times he's had races that might have left him wanting a little bit more. We got Leandro Anderuti on pole, meanwhile, as D'Acunto comes down the back stretch. See if he can improve it all on his current 4th place time, but he's going a bit slow. I think he is done with that run. Also taking part tonight here in the Geodesic Racing BMW, Dan Suzuki, who will be very familiar to Twitch viewers. I'm sure he's out there streaming this very race right now. So if you want to run his broadcast side by side with ours, you're more than welcome to, but we're going to be taking a picture of the entire race here. And Suzuki has done pretty well to put himself P7 so far, gearing up here for another run across the line. I think he's come to the end of his 2nd lap here. And is this going to be an improvement for Dan Suzuki? Looks like it won't be at this stage. He might actually have started his 2nd hot lap here, given by how quickly he's taken turn 1. And actually, Nick, this is going to be a good representation of what it's like to drive around this place.
Yeah, absolutely. There, great work by Dan as well. Opting to go the new M4, so obviously being a first new season back there as well. A bit of a you can just see how quickly unloading the car there and just touching that tire onto the grass, how quickly it can spit you off there. So thankfully no other cars on the circuit there. He would have gone right through that infield section. So that will be his qualifying session done.
Yeah, it will, and he'd already completed his 2 hot laps at that point. I just checked. I think he's just getting a little bit of extra mileage there in the Geodesic BMW. It's looking like a pretty quick server here in this top split that we are broadcasting of this particular time slot. With a minute left in qualifying, the track temperature only 20 degrees here as it's just coming up 7:45 p.m. in sim time. And the air temperature 19 degrees as well, which means there's going to be quite a bit of grip available to the drivers out there. But as the track cools down more and more and more, it's going to be more important to get your tyres up to temperature. Otherwise, you are going to spin out. That's the temperature as things stand in imperial measurements, because, of course, we are in America.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a great section there that we just kind of saw. It's actually a really a bunch of different right-handers. It's like a sharp right-hander coming out of that chicane section, then a really long flowing one, and then it tightens up again there. So nice technical track, and it's absolutely why our top 10 have been split by about a second there. We usually see them in a little bit tighter there, but it being such a technical track, there's always so much time that can be made on separate sections around the circuit.
Indeed. Well, Dan Suzuki right in the middle of another practice lap here, but he's going to be pummeled off the circuit as the session ticks over and we can get into our 40-minute race session. For that, the drivers will line up as follows. On pole position, it's Jelle Wolters, who starts on the first row alongside Leandro Anderuti, with Thijs Simons in third place alongside Jaden Laddick. Marco D'Acunto and Gabriel Couto line up on the third row, and then it's Carmelo Martello and Dan Suzuki, 7th and 8th. The top 10 rounded up by Jeremiah Kaiser and Tommy De Wilde, with the top 12 rounded out by Slaven Prusina and Philip Adding.
Yeah, just outside those 12 positions. On row 7 there, Aaron Vazquez, and then Francis LaRose, Craig Molnar, and Mark Noske, John Sedlak, and Nico Blankenstein.
Danny Hogendorn is going to line up in 19th, with the top 20 rounded out by Filippo Maria Distrutti. Goodness me, these names. Scott Turner and Iam Jabor are the last two cars to set times, with Diogo de Souza, Daniel de Campo Pelaez, and Stephen Bartholomew not setting times. So, with under 50 seconds remaining now in this pre-race gridding phase, the drivers will be getting ready here for a rolling start behind the safety car. And it's a full pace lap around here at Road Atlanta, so the drivers are going to have a little bit of extra opportunity here to suss out the circuit, see what the grip levels are generally like, at least at slow speed, and also maybe get their eye in on places they could potentially pull moves in the first couple of turns. But Nick, it's going to be at the end of the formation lap where things really start to heat up, because once the pace car pulls into the pits, the leader can go pretty much any time they like, and I would expect them to try and get the best run possible out of 10A and 10B, the chicane and over the hill.
Yeah, absolutely. So all eyes are going to be right at the front there. Just seeing the cars almost falling asleep a little bit.
Yeah, a bit slow.
Just
A bit
seeing
slow getting off the line.
everyone taking their very sweet time there to get going. I think if you're one of the cars at the back of the field, you'd start to get a little bit nervous there. Quite a big field as well. Quite sometimes with a few of these GTs, they do tend to cut the fields up a little bit, so you can sometimes only be around a few cars, but quite a lot of cars out here at the moment. So I think that is definitely going to play into that strategy a little bit.
Yeah, indeed. We have 25 cars on this grid, and funny you mentioned strategy, because that's going to play a part here in tonight's racing. Because the race is 40 minutes and the tanks are restricted, means the drivers are going to have to come into the pits once during this race to get a bit of extra fuel. Tyres are not necessary, because these are GT3s and the tyres they run on can pretty much last 1,000 years in regular circumstances, but they will definitely have to come in between the middle phase of the race. The exact laps they might be coming in on, we're not too sure, but you can probably expect them to come in, I'd say, after about lap 5 or 6 at the earliest, and by the time we're about 5 or 6 laps from the end, everyone should have taken their pit stops. So we'll be keeping an eye on that, Nick. Pit entry here at Road Atlanta, also very difficult. You basically got to navigate a chicane running down the hill to get into the pit lane.
Yeah, and it is a blind corner as well, so it's quite tricky to know where the cars are, whether they're on the left or the right hand of the circuit as well. So that'll be definitely one to watch out for. Just all seeing them cruise through the back there. Safety car, no lights on that. They can maybe a little bit of X-ray vision there. Great mix of cars there as well. Seeing even you could see the Lamborghinis and the BMWs heavily favoured, but seeing a bit of a mix there. The old Ferrari and the Porsche as well.
Indeed. Well, it's about time now to get this start. Jelle Wolters is going to lead them away. He backs off just a bit here out of the chicane. Everyone checking up behind him. He waits for the opportunity. It's an all BMW front row, and they're already starting to get impatient behind, but Wolters bolts, and we are away for VRS GT in 2021 Season 4. Leandro Anderuti holding on to second. The two Porsches of Laddic and Simons got side by side into turn 1, and winning that battle is Laddic. And up the hill they come, everyone keeping it reasonably clean through the first couple of turns, but turn 3 is the big choke point. You've got to go single file through here, otherwise you're going to lose a ton of time. And it looks like Dan Suzuki just losing the position there versus Carmelo Martello, are actually trying the position and failing to take it on lap 1. They all run single file. Looks like Suzuki's getting that position because Martello running a little bit too wide over the curb. Up the front though, Jelle Walters. Maybe just a slight little bit of an oversteer moment, and another bit of an oversteer moment from Leandro Andaruti as well. It looks like second place is under threat from the 2 Porsches.
Yeah, we did just have a small accident there at the back of the field there, I think by Philip Batting and I think another car as well. So thankfully, most of the field getting through cleanly here at the moment. All single file at the moment.
Yeah, once they get down the back straight, that's where the draft comes in, and you got to take care behind other cars. Dan Suzuki holding off the charge here versus the Lamborghini of Tommy DeVilde, then Carmelo Martello, Slaven Prusina and Aaron Vazquez all behind him in a train. And you're seeing a train forming for second as actually there goes Jaden Ladich into second place. Made the move on Leandro Andaruti at turn 1, and Andaruti trying to fight back at it, but very hard to pass into turn 3. And it's pretty much single file here through the S's as well down the bottom of the hill as you see Walters just up ahead, really moving away. Slaven Prusina, meanwhile, battling hard here with Martello, Suzuki, and Vasquez. Oh my goodness. Good incident avoidance there from Aaron Vazquez. Spinning around Slaven Prusina, and that's the curb at the exit of turn 5.
Yeah, we've seen, even in practice a little bit earlier on there, we've seen so many cars come a cropper on that curb there as well. It's such a tricky part of that circuit to navigate. The actual natural racing line is running really wide over the curb there, but if you hit it the wrong angle, it can actually bounce the car off there, as we just saw it in that example.
Though Prusina, also of Geodesic Racing, so Dan Suzuki will be a little disappointed that that's happened, and the team will also be a little disappointed, but Prusina can certainly come back from this. He hasn't ended up losing out massively. Certainly he'll be able to catch up to the rear of the field by probably 10 minutes to go, but he's going to have to put in the hard yards and not make any more mistakes. Here's the battle for the top 5. Marco D'Acunto and Gabriel Couto here through the first couple of turns, and a bit of a pack forming up ahead of these guys as we check back at 12th and 13th. Mark Noski in 12th, who we are familiar with here at SimSpeed TV. In fact, Geodesic Racing, who Dan Suzuki is a member of, organises the Omologado Championship, which we broadcast last season, and Mark Noski, a regular competitor in that series. So there's some familiar faces here in the VRS GT broadcast. And Daruti, meanwhile, trying to come back on Jaden Ladich. Will he be able to get it done at 10A?
Yeah, you have to say for these two, the more and more they fight there, absolutely with LA Walters there, Walters almost 7/10 of a lap so far. They've only a few laps in here at the moment, and almost about a second and a half as they cross the line as well. We'll keep a good eye on that time difference there. It should probably seems to be maintaining around that 1.3 seconds mark at the moment, but he's well and truly clear, so he's going to be clear of that draft as well, and they're not going to be able to put in any moves being this far behind.
Yeah, Road Atlanta does have plenty of overtaking opportunities around the lap, but it's tough at the best of times. Looking at the number 7 of Vilda here, chasing down Dan Suzuki for 7th place. And the track getting darker and darker, which means we're not going to be seeing much of the cars by the time we get to the checkered flag. It's very challenging for drivers in the changing light conditions, but also changing temperature as well, Nick. It's very hard to race into the night. You've got to deal with the grip characteristics of the car changing as the temperature of the track goes down.
Yeah, absolutely, and also with that pit as well, adding in another factor as well, so they'll be coming onto a set of tyres that might not absolutely be exactly what they go, or unless if it is a splash of fuel there, Reece. So
it is just a splash of fuel, but as they come into the pits, they are of course going to have the tyres cool down.
Yeah, absolutely. So quite a short stop there as well, but you're absolutely right. All these little factors there will all have to come into consideration as we just see uh, that car in 12th. I think that is Mark Noski there at the moment, leading that train there as well. Diogo Suzia there, big charging through the field, currently in 15th from that 23rd position.
Yeah, Diogo's doing pretty well, up 8 positions there from where he started. John Sedlak as well, competing in this one. Currently holds on to 13th position. Both he and Mark Noski are up up 4 positions from where they started. The biggest mover in the field is Stephen Bartholomew, up 8 positions. And remember, he started on the very back row. We've already had a few cars taken out because of issues around the track. Here is Stephen Bartholomew in the Bow Repairs Redback Racing Team liveried McLaren. And Stephen, he's doing pretty well right now. It's very nice in the McLaren, I think, at Road Atlanta. Doesn't like the curbs as much as the other GT cars, but certainly enjoys that flight down the straight.
Yeah, and loves the 9 as well. Obviously, with that big flames and stuff out there, hopefully they can move that to some of the other cars as well. That'd be fantastic here. So we're just seeing our race here for second at the moment. These three are just bunching up even tighter again there. That's such a tricky corner there, the start of the S's. It's blind, so you can't actually see that apex there. You're almost pretty much pitching the car and guessing. So obviously these drivers have spent a lot of laps around this circuit, whether it be in the GT4 cars or some of the other road series.
Deruti actually got back past Jaden Ladich off camera. We missed that, but still back up into second, and the battle remains as close as it ever was as we look at Aaron Vasquez in 10th place. Here is Ladich, meanwhile, right on the back of Anderuti, and it's going to be another attempt at a move here. Look at the power of the draft there for Jaden Ladich, the Australian, overtaking Anderuti before they get to the braking zone, just dives across onto the racing line. I don't know how happy Anderuti is going to be with that kind of driving, but regardless, there's no doubting the pace of Jaden Ladich at this stage, and he's doing very well to keep himself well embedded in that top 3 positions battle. Got to be careful of Thijs Simons in the other Porsche just behind as well, though. It's going to be a tough one for all of these drivers here. We're only just coming up to a quarter time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually quite interesting as well when they cross the line. We're seeing so many of these little battle packs forming as well. You can't really make a sprint for the line very, very close there to that last corner. Oh, wow. They really push so hard into that, wide into that corner. I think I'd be a bit nervous about hitting it as hard as they are, as well as some of the handicap curbs as well. So normally see many of our production car races as well being aggressive through those corners, but it's great to see the GT3 cars doing the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Check back a little bit further, just coming out of the turn here, and it's a big headlight flash from Aaron Vasquez as he chases down Carmelo Martello down the back straight. How much of a draft is he going to have? Looks like neither of these guys carrying a huge amount of damage, and Vasquez pulls out, tries a move. He gains a little bit under brakes and having to go wide to give him room as Martello, but he's going to hold on for the inside. A little bit of oversteer from Carmelo, and that gives an ever so slight run to Aaron Vasquez, but with the tighter line, he almost had a chance at defending that position, but Vasquez now through, and big headlight flash there for Carmelo Martello. Maybe he thought that move at the chicane wasn't on.
Yeah, I've also actually just off screen as well, John Sedak had a very big moment there facing the opposite way. So we might have to cut to a replay if we can there. It was around that back half of the circuit. So he's back into the pits now. Maybe he can kind of work that fuel cap into his strategy.
Yeah, I've just gone back and seen what happened to Sedlak, and yeah, it is a big shame. It was 2 cars going side by side, Mark Noski and Francois Lerose, and Lerose on the inside of Noski spun and ended up collecting John Sedlak. He didn't have many places to go. So here is Noski And he's got quite a good view of this battle just up ahead of him. Actually, my apologies. Oh dear. That looks to be what happened to John Sedlak there on the replay. So had to take the drift loop at the final couple of corners. And we go back to live pictures. So checking back in with that lead pack, it seems that Yale Volters started to lose just a tiny bit of time to Ladic, Anderuti and Simons. The gaps between the top four, well, Volters still holding on to a very nice gap, but as you can see, Jaden Ladic is starting to pick up the pace.
Yeah, Ladic has absolutely bridged that gap through. We did see that gap there between first and second. It was almost all the way ran to about a second and a half there, so they've pulled about 8/10 or so, so it has halved that gap there. Ladic almost at the pace that he's going might actually be able to bridge that gap onto the back there of Walters.
We shall see. On the back straight, this undulating back stretch here at Road Atlanta. The question is now, when do these drivers decide to come in for their pit stop? Because I would say that we are within the pit window now as we check out the AusNZ driver Jeremiah Kaiser in his BMW, still chasing down Mr. Stephen Bartholomew. Those guys have both moved up gradually through the field. Kaiser, though, is on a recovery. He's down 8 positions from where he started. As we check out the P4 battle here, Guy Simons chasing down Leandro Anderuti. This is going to be very intense, and you can see that gap between the top two has decreased further. So this is going to be a proper battle here for the lead soon.
Yeah, absolutely. There, Ladic there taking around another 2/10 or so. So getting that hammer down and almost on the back now of Walters there. So he's going to be within that draft zone. Potentially as they come down in the 10A and 10B, he might be even close enough to put in an attack in.
Here we go then. Look at the draft from Jaden Ladic. He's got a tiny bit of momentum there on Yellow Volters, but he's not close enough to attempt to move into the chicane. Just lifting off a little bit early, giving Volters a bit of extra space there, and might elect to pass him in the pits. But have a look at the run he got out of the chicane. That Porsche obviously feeling very confident on the throttle application. A little bit of a visit to the grass there for Jaden Ladic. He's piling the pressure on Yellow Volters now. This lead battle is well and truly on. Which one of these guys decides to blink first and jump into the pits? Because that could make all the difference here.
Yeah, you can see just how aggressive there Ladic is through that right-hander there as well. Right on that rear bar as well, you'll see them. I have to say, gee, he's just really trying to buy his time here at the moment. We did see just off in the foreground as well, some potential lap traffic, so don't think it's going to play into it too far. They are going to be able to get onto that straight section just here.
Yeah, Nico Blankenstein in quite a damaged Porsche just up ahead of these guys. But Nico seems to have been driving pretty cleanly since the incident that he had. So we'll see if it becomes an issue here for our top four, but I expect it won't be. There's the view from Nico, and you can see that the bonnet of that Porsche is missing. So down in 22nd. What's going to happen down here on the front stretch? None of our top four decide to go for the pits once more. Looking like at this stage they might be electing to go a bit long here on the first stint as Blankenstein lets them all through very nicely on the front stretch. That's what we like to see. And on board with second place, Jaden Ladic. Looking at how much curb he uses through this S's section, and this is pretty much flat out, maybe a tiny lift in GT3 machinery. Got to get on the brakes, obviously, for this one, and then the big bump as you go over the curb on the exit. What a beautiful track this Road Atlanta is. Yeah,
how great is that undulation as well there as well? You so many like little blind corners, and then you come up to this hairpin here. Absolutely nail it. It's one of the cool things about that 10A and 10B complex a little bit further up the road here is you really kind of plunge down into that. It's almost like a valley there. Really hard on the brakes. It makes it just such an exciting braking zone. You can just see car 5 there of, I think, Marco De Gunto. Little bit of a drift here of our top 4, but you see the top 4 of Andrew Rudy there. Super, super close there on the back of Ladich.
Very close, and all of them going as far to the inside of that kink out of the chicane as they can. That's actually the pit entry line as well, so if you see them continue to go right as they come over the crest, that means they're going for the pit lane. But goodness me, yeah, Anderuti, he is looking quite racy here versus Jaden Ladich at the moment, and these top 4 have not been able to leave each other alone since the very start of the race, and this is one of the closest and most well competed, I guess, lead fights I've seen in this series yet. As we check out Mark Noski once again, down in 12th at the moment, still making up those positions, and he's got Diogo de Souza in front of him. De Souza is up 12 positions now, which is really awesome to see for him. As we check out our top 4 once again here, under 3/10 now between second and third. Will Anderuti try the move here on Jaden Ladich? Will Jaden attempt a dive bomb on Yellow Volters? I expect not, because he's a very long way behind. Down into the braking zone, they all stay single file once again, but you can tell that a couple of them are maybe just getting a little bit impatient here as the laps continue to tick away. We'll be coming up very shortly on half race time. And have a look at the run again from Jaden Ladich out of the final chicane. We look on board from Thijs Simons, and you'll see them come into turn 1 line astern, the BMW and the Porsche. What a fantastic battle this has been.
Yeah, starting to look at some of that attitude there from Ladich's car. It almost feels like he's actually rolling off the throttle in some spots of the track there. Maybe to just try and save a little bit of fuel there if you can get away with taking maybe a litre or 2 less there. Could definitely walk around a couple of these competitors here in the pits.
Yeah, that he could. That's the main reason why you want a draft partner here at Road Atlanta. Whatever fuel you can save out on track is time that you will gain in the pit stop. And if you can stay in touch with drivers like Yellow Volters up at the front, then you'll certainly be within a chance. Volters, he doesn't have the opportunity to feel safe. He's punching a hole in the air for everyone else to go through. So he'll be using probably a bit more fuel. And of course, he would have prepared for that, being competing in the high split that he is, but still one way that these guys behind him can get the best of him. Now, who goes for the pits this time? Answer is, once again, no one, as they complete their 14th lap. We'll do a quick lap time comparison. Volters, a 17.7. Jaden Ladich, a 17.8, 17.9 for Anderuti, and a 17.8 for Simons. So the Porsches looking pretty quick here versus the BMWs by and large.
Yeah, absolutely. They're really getting that setup dialed in. It does suit the Porsche pretty well there with those really flowing change of directions here. We're just having a look here at some of our drivers a little bit further back. I don't believe we've seen anyone aside from, I think it might have been John Sedlak there, who's the only driver in. Oh, sorry, we've just had a few others as well. Scott
Yes.
Turner as well. I think our lead car there in the from the pits.
Yeah, Scott Turner, he was running a little bit further up than that, but he is our first regular scheduled pitter of the race. I'm sure that everyone will have seen that and will now be gearing up for their try at a pit stop. We'll get a bit of a sight into how long a pit stop takes here at Road Atlanta. It's 33.5 seconds lane time and 10.5 seconds stop time for Scott Turner. So we can expect that these guys up the front will run similar, if not slightly quicker numbers.
Yeah, absolutely there. And you could potentially bank on their Ladich, maybe as well as Anderuti as well. Taking maybe a second or 2 less there. Really, as you can imagine, with these top splits drivers, everyone runs so hard up on that fuel burn there. Oh, a little bit wide there on that curb. Very lucky. Great save there. Gee, and you can just see how hard Walters hits that curb on the outside as well, really unsettles that BMW, but with that aerodynamic and those tyres, it does manage to hold pretty well straight.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I'm amazed at the line he's taking out of turn 5 compared to everyone else. He's actually using some of the tarmac beyond the curb, whereas everyone else is just using the curb and getting back on the track as soon as possible. Walters is playing with fire a little bit, but he hasn't gotten burnt yet. Let's see how things go in the final half of this Virtual Racing School GT Sprint race here at Road Atlanta. Once again, round 1 of 2021 Season 4. We got another 11 weeks of racing ahead of us after this is done, and certainly another few kilometers of racing for these guys because they have avoided the pits once again.
Yeah, so definitely picking one of the longest strategies there. I'm not too sure if that's really the best way to go about it. I'm sure these gents here are all over it. I'd have to ask you, Reese, on what would be your preferred strategy. It does look like this long strategy might be the go, though.
Yeah, I think so. They're probably just looking to run the tank out as much as they possibly can here and try and have a car as light as possible towards the end, which would work nicely with the colder temperatures. I've also seen Stephen Bartholomew and Nico Blankenstein coming into the pits, and Blankenstein is now out, but Stephen Bartholomew has been sat there for quite some time. He's coming up on 40 seconds in the box as the second place battle is heating up now out here on track. But yeah, we're starting to see drivers maybe, a bit further down in the field. I think they're going to go for the lane first, maybe try and undercut those ahead of them. But these guys out the front, they're all running the same numbers, the same strategy. I think they'll decide, you know what, maybe pit with like 10 minutes to go if they can even make it that far.
Yeah, absolutely. There, even most of our top 10 are all holding pretty steady here, just on board here with Tommy DeWilde. Another lap from him as well, so he'll be pretty well happy there. Currently around that 8th position there at the moment. Still about 2 seconds adrift there of Dan Suzuki. We did see Dan Suzuki's teammate a little bit earlier there having a pretty heavy incident that has put them all the way down the back, so not too much of a battle of attrition this time. Everyone keeping it pretty straight. Thankfully, Road Atlanta, quite an open track there and quite a flowing track there as well, so not too many incidents to speak of.
Yeah, apart from the minor skirmishes we saw in the first couple of laps, it has been a very clean race so far, which is exactly what we want to see here at SimSpeed TV. So now on lap 18 of this race with under 17 minutes to go, who out of the top 4 is going to decide to go for the pits? Is it going to happen this time around? It is not. These guys are playing games with us. I'm really starting to get a bit impatient myself. I want to see some pit lane action here, but it seems that everyone's just happy to run the tank out here, take a bit of fuel, and then run as light as possible to the end. And it seems that this top 4 isn't in any danger of changing around massively as well, unless there's a mistake from someone, because it seems for the time being, these guys are being presented with occasional opportunities to make moves, but they're not going for them. They're going to try and buy a ticket to the end here.
Yeah, that's absolutely right there. So just having a little bit look there as well. Dana Kunto there as well. Sorry, Marco Di Kunto and Gabrielle Caudo as well. So these two are about 9/10 apart here at the moment. So just outside, or they would be able to pull maybe a little bit of a draft there. So they are going to be a little bit separate there. Maybe in the pits they could try and bunch up a little bit more. See how it all plans out.
Indeed we shall. Koto has got a little bit of a whisper of a draft there from Dakunto as well, which should help him to save maybe just a tiny bit more fuel. The race continues up the front. Meanwhile, it remains Yellow Volters in front. Jaden Ladich trailing by 0.2 of a second. The top 4 are covered by 0.952. That's how close the battle is here up at the top of the field. And I'm absolutely loving it, seeing these guys push each other so hard, and have a look at how much curb usage Ladich is exhibiting right now. He is right on the back of that BMW and looking to try and pressure this guy into a mistake. And again, you see that big wide line that Yellow Volters takes out of the 5th turn here at Road Atlanta, the 5th numbered turn anyway. As with many American road courses, it's kind of up to interpretation as to what counts as a corner.
Yeah, absolutely. I always appreciate the American ways of just numbering their streets instead of naming them, and numbering their corners makes it quite easy to recite all of them as well. Talking about numbers though, car number 1 there, Ladich is all in the mirrors there of Volters as well. So, and he's also a bit under pressure as well there. I think Naruto possibly maybe getting impatient as well here. No real point until after the pits to try and put in any attacks there as well. Still choosing to stay out.
Yeah, man, I'm surprised that these guys have stayed out as long as they have. You know, generally the trend has been in this series to pit around the halfway mark and split the race 50-50, but it seems in these night conditions it's better to keep the tires heated up for that long period of time and just let them cool down a little bit in a pit stop later towards the end. Maybe, you know, the drivers obviously running the numbers. We're starting to see more drivers come into the pits, though. Tommy DeVilde and Mark Noski both in the pits now. Let's see how long their pit stops take. The quickest stop so far has been 10.5 seconds from Scott Turner. How will these guys fare? It's over 10 seconds for Tommy DeVilde, 10.9 to be exact. He's joined in the pits by Francois Larose, Jeremiah Kaiser, and Filippo Maria Distruti. Yam Javour also making his way into the lane, which means the top 4 should be coming in imminently.
Yeah, absolutely there. So seeing quite a few of our cars now take these pit service here, coming back into 10A and 10B. Everyone just tucking in behind there. Their Volters takes it super wide there.
Oh, Ladich stays out. That's a bold decision there by Jaden Ladich. Maybe try and get a little overcut, so to speak, on his rivals here. Volters maybe a little bit compromised out of the chicane. I saw him running a tiny bit wide over the curb. And let's see what the pit stop is like here for 3 of our top 4 out on track at the moment. This is crunch time.
Yeah, absolutely. There you see Volters all the way at the end of that pit lane there with that almost that number 1 pit box. Any further forward and he'll be in the back of the safety car there as well. So 11.2. Not too
it's
bad of a stop.
close. Oh, so close there. His fellow BMW Leandro Andaruti almost overtook him on pit exit, but for now, Yellow Volters re-emerges in the lead. Simons also doing very well there. And the question is, when Jaden Ladich decides to come in for a stop, where exactly is he going to come out versus these guys? It's looking like there might be a little bit of a space for him to slot into, but right now, Leandro Andaruti is challenging Yellow Volters for the overall lead here. And only one car remaining to not pit, and that is Jaden Ladich. Slaven Prusina, who we saw having an incident on lap 1, has decided to bring it in. He decided to go late in the race as well. And speaking of, there is Jaden Ladich in the pits. So, Nick, this is going to decide whether or not he's going to challenge for victory. He has to nail this stop.
Yeah, you'd have to say there, especially with these top 3 that are so close together there, that Ladich is not really going to be dropped into the middle of these 3. I think you'd have to say it'd either be in front or behind. Already out of the pits here as well, so.
And they're just entering turn 1 behind now. Have a look at that. What a lead he has gone. Jaden Ladich. My goodness. I tell you what, that pit stop wasn't exactly quicker than anyone else. It was basically a regulation pit stop there for Jaden Ladich. So how on earth did he manage to gain that much time? I think that Volters, Andaruti, and Simons were just slowing each other up.
Yeah, absolutely there. So Ladich definitely showing how strong it was. Maybe also, I think he might have put in a pretty quick lap as well when those other 3 were all bunched up together. But mate, you'd have to say there, maybe with Volters was holding up, I was going to say that trio, those 4 drivers all together. So Ladich now out in front. He was clearly showing the pace earlier on as well. If he can get that foot down, try and just maintain that gap, he's going to have one hand on that price.
Yeah, you make a good point about potentially nailing the in-lap there for Jaden Ladich. That's the best time possible to set a quick time. When everyone around you has pitted and you've got clear air around you, you can focus on setting that fast time, and you might end up gaining more than you realise. And Jaden Ladich proving that. He's up 3 positions now from where he started, and that is the lead of the race. So it's a battle of the BMWs now for 2nd and 3rd, and Simons is going to try and make it 2 Porsches on the podium. Who is going to come out on top in the battle of the German brands? We'll have to find out in just under 10 minutes' time. Maybe a slight mistake from Volters nearly gives a run there to Leandro Anderuti, and it's going to be another draft down the back stretch. They almost make bumper-to-bumper contact there, but just backing out at the right moment was Leandro Anderuti. My goodness, this battle is going to remain intense.
Yeah, absolutely. They're almost through turn 5 and 6. Having that rear contact there, thankfully, nice and early on the brakes there. Geez, you have to say for Ladich, though, almost pulling 2 seconds on these 3 as well. And these 3 are now going to start to have that battling. It's just going to slow them up even more.
Yeah, they're basically giving the race win to Ladich at this point. And I don't know, I suppose that they're all pretty happy with how things have turned out, maybe except for Yellow Volters, because he's ended up losing a position out of this one. And Anderuti and Simons are in the same positions they were before. Meanwhile, here's the battle for 8th and 9th. Wilder and Vasquez fighting hard. It's Lamborghini versus BMW out there for some of the last couple positions in the top 10. Dan Suzuki has managed to jump one of the drivers in the top 10. He's up 1 position from where he started. De Vilda in the Lamborghini is up 2, and Aaron Vasquez is up 4. So there's a lot of profitable nights going on out there, and have a look at how close Vasquez is to the bumper there as we check back in with a 2nd and 3rd place battle.
Yeah, you can see they're coming up and around that back straight there as well. So not really close enough to put an attack in yet, but you could just see how much of a gain there of just pulling that BMW in. Almost like it's been a lasso and pulling himself in towards there as well. Hard on the brakes, so you do have to remember, if you're holding that draft as well, you do need to brake just a little bit earlier to compensate for that extra speed.
Yeah, awful lot of minutiae that casual watchers might not necessarily know about. But of course, if you are a sim racer, which is 99% likely if you're watching this broadcast, you'll certainly know what it's like to wheel a GT3 car around a track like Road Atlanta, and the same truths apply to any kind of racing car. You get the draft, it means that your braking zone is going to be slightly longer, you might have to back off. Vilda and Vasquez then. We'll have a look at the run on the entry from Vasquez. The BMW looking very strong on the entry to turn 1, but Tommy De Vilda holding on through turn 3 now. You see that Vasquez is actually being quite a bit more aggressive on corner entry than the Lamborghini is, which, I think he might have been looking after his tyres over the course of this race, because he's looking mighty pacey right now versus Tommy.
Yeah, absolutely there as well. Ladich there, almost 2.5 seconds to Walters at the moment, so we did just have a slight look up the road here, but these two are absolutely going hammer and tong there as well. De Vilda doing really, really well, getting up into that 8th position there from 10th as well. Seen quite a few gainers as well. I think Diogo de Souza as well, up into nearly into that top 10 position. He's in 11th at the moment from 23rd, and an attack there.
Yeah, it's been a great race from Diogo de Souza as this battle rages its way down the hill and across the start-finish line now to start lap 27. 5 minutes to go here at Road Atlanta. Time is running out for Aaron Vasquez to try and stake his claim to 8th place. Dan Suzuki is about 5 seconds ahead of these guys, and I say there's not much chance of them catching him, but have a look again. I think Tommy DeVilde might be dealing with a tiny bit of instability there into turn 3, because you saw how much Vasquez gained that time. I know that the Lamborghini is a bit of a twitchy car, but my goodness, how on earth is Tommy DeVilde managing to hold on to that? He goes defensive out of turn 5. Forcing Aaron Vasquez to go the long way around in this double right-hander. But I'm starting to feel, Nick, that a move is on the horizon sooner rather than later for this BMW.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there might be a little bit of a retaliation there. We did see that attack a little bit further on there. I have to say, it's all over the road there as well. Not particularly blocking there, but a little bit unpredictable on that line choice as well. So just seeing quite a few little battle packs forming up there as well, just with Jeremiah Kaiser.
Yeah, he's chasing down the Ferrari of Francois Larose, and Kaiser is down 6 positions from where he started, so he's got a bit of work to do still in the last 4 minutes of this race, but looks like it might be a move down here at 10A and 10B. Kaiser well and truly by Larose when they get to the braking point. That is an extra position now up into 14th place for Jeremiah Kaiser. DeVilde and Vasquez are still continuing to run line astern. And our 2nd and 3rd place battle here started to space out a little more. It's now just under 0.4 of a second between Volters and Anderuti, and you see that Simons has dropped off even further than that. So I feel like the battle for the top 4 almost over at this point, but I touch wood, there is still plenty of chances here for every driver to make a move if one of them makes a mistake. Road Atlanta, of course, a very old school racetrack. You got grass right by the side of the circuit. You cannot afford to make a mistake, run a bit too wide onto the grass around here, as Vasquez having a little bit of a look at the inside of Tommy DeVilde. It's a tight turn in for the Lamborghini. Can the BMW get the run out of 10A and 10B? No, but it is in that first sector where Aaron Vasquez seems very strong.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a rocket over that start-finish line as well. So great there, that turn right all over the back there, especially at night. All you'd have would be those BMW headlights there in your rear view mirror as well. To say
Oh,
that.
no! Oh, goodness. What a mistake there from Tommy DeVilde, side by side down through the S's. He's going to try and defend this position. Vasquez has to slots back in behind. My goodness.
Yeah, we are having a little bit look up further as well, as just here in the closing minutes now. So that battle for second there, still around that 0.3 or so. So still not over yet. To see him come through for another lap as well. They're not going to really be able to line each other up. For the liner will have to be done most likely under that 10A, 10B complex.
Yeah, indeed. That seems like the prime passing opportunity here as Vasquez has another look at Tommy DeVilde. We saw DeVilde make that huge error in turn 3, almost spun himself out but recovered well and held off against Vasquez. This is going to be the defense of Tommy DeVilde's sim racing career if he can pull this off. It's going to be 2 laps to go for these guys. When Jaden Ladich crosses the line next, it is going to be 1 lap to go here at Road Atlanta. This is a roundabout where the mistake was made last lap. Oh, he pulls out for the move, does Vasquez. Oh, taking a little bit of a wider line. Does DeVilde hold on this time? Yep, that's going to be an off-track 1X for both of them, but they both managed to hold on just. And DeVilde maybe half a car width wide at the apex. Can he hold on here versus Vasquez? This is so intense. And he's going to have another opportunity here down the straight, maybe just a couple more opportunities. Our race leader, meanwhile, Jaden Ladich, is about to come across the line to start the final lap of the race. What a drive it has been from this Australian, Nick. I mean, I did not expect him to be this far out in the lead when the green flag dropped, but he nailed the strategy.
Yeah, absolutely there as well, and also by a country mile as well, around 2.5 seconds as well. So definitely his to lose here at the moment as they come through It is our last lap here as well, so it's going to be for Volters there and Enderuti. It's a bit tricky to know which way it's going to come or where that fortune is as well. You can see both of them there taking that really, really wide line out past the curbing.
Absolutely. Looks like Enderuti has caught on a bit to what Walters was doing earlier. That seems to be a good line in the BMW. Well, that's one of the final big acceleration zones out of the way. And do any of these guys have an advantage at this stage? That might be a bit of a dive from Leandro Enderuti. Let's see how they go. Might not be close enough coming into the braking zone. Jaden Ladich up ahead is completely untroubled. Down into the chicane. Big application of the brakes. Maybe a tiny slide from Yellow Volters, but it's not going to happen. Up the front, it is Jaden Ladich who takes victory here in the first week of Virtual Racing School GT Sprint at Road Atlanta. A brilliant drive from the Porsche driver. The two BMWs of Volters and Enderuti, after keeping it nice and clean all race, managing to come home in a very strong second and third. I think they can be proud of themselves for that. And also Ty Simons for keeping himself well in contention for that podium right to the end. Dan Suzuki is about to come across the line to finish 7th, and then it's Tommy DeVilde who's managed to hold off Aaron Vasquez there for 7th place, even after the mistakes he made. A great defensive drive from the Lamborghini driver.
Yeah, a great defensive drive indeed at the moment. We're just seeing our car in 12th place. I think that is Mark Noski there. Great run as well there, up 4 places from 16th, so he will be pleased with that. Just seeing a few more, I think, of our minor places there. Just a few of our cars around that top 20 position mark just coming across the line now.
Yeah, it's Philip Adding crossing the line, then Scott Turner, and our last two finishers are going to be Filippo Maria Distrutti and Yam Jabbour, the final driver to cross the line here. Jabbour up 3 positions from where he started. It's largely due to the problems for Prasina, Sedlak, Blankenstein, Bartholomew, De Campo Pelaez and Molnar. Actually, Pelaez and Molnar did not even take the start, so that's a little bit disappointing for them. Either way, we're going to run through the majority of our full race results here, with Jaden Ladich taking victory by 2.6 seconds over Jelle Volters, our pole sitter. Leandro Enderuti holds on to finish 3rd. And Ty Simons and Marco D'Acunto rounding out the top 5. Gabriel Couto finishes in 6th. Dan Suzuki, a quiet race for him, +1 position, ends up in 7th. Tommy DeVilde and Aaron Vasquez keeping each other very close company there for 8th and 9th. And Carmelo Martello could have been a bit better for him. Lost 3 positions, but still holds on for a top 10.
Just outside the top 10 there, Diego De Souza there. Excellent drive there, all the way up from 23rd position into 11th there. Mark Noski, Danny Hugendorn there, Jeremiah Kaiser, Francois Lerose, Philip Adding, Scott Turner, as we saw as well, Philip Mario Distretto, and I am Jaber, Slaven Prasinia there, 1 lap down.
Indeed. That's the lead lap cars complete. John Sedlak and Nico Blankenstein 2 laps down after their issues earlier on. Stephen Bartholomew is a retirement, unfortunately, in the McLaren. He just pulled into the pits and didn't come out. Meanwhile, Daniel De Campo Pelaez looks like he did make it a lap into the race, but did not go well for him, with Craig Molnar not even taking the start. It's a shame. Would have been nice to see how well he did in such a competitive field. Either way, that brings to an end proceedings for tonight here at Road Atlanta, and we'll be going to Twin Ring Motegi for the 2nd week of the season. That's going to be fun, Nick. It's quite a different circuit to Road Atlanta, actually, with plenty of straights, plenty of hairpins, and quite smooth curbs.
Yeah, absolutely. There, Motegi Twin Ring with its heavy braking sections, and yeah, you're absolutely right there with the sharp curves. It's going to add a really different dynamic there to the real flowing Road Atlanta that we just saw.
Absolutely, it will. We hope that you can join us for that next Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. I'm Reese Gardner, Nick Scariev alongside me in the commentary box, and Scott Fountain on production here. From all of us at SimSpeed TV, we say thank you for watching. Big thanks to Virtual Racing School for their support of this series and of us here at SimSpeed. It's bye for now, certainly not forever.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's got with the outside. Both of them. Maloney. Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God! Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled.
Six very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no, that's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?
Are you spending a lot of time looking for setups and struggling for faster lap times? Are you tired of searching online for answers? Would you like to get setups, analysis and tutorials from some of the best sim racers in the world like Raul Falla, Mitchell de Jong, Martin Krunker, Josh Rogers and many more? If so, virtualracingschool.com is the answer you've been looking for. VRS data packs provide hot laps from our professional coaches for you to analyse and replicate. They provide tutorials that walk you through the fastest laps and what the pros did to achieve the best times. And they provide the setups you need to ensure your car is competitive in both oval and road racing. If you're ready to get faster and reach more podiums sooner than later, just go to virtualracingschool.com and sign up for a free account today.